Can I just do one thing?
Sure.
There's a friend of mine in the audience. His name is Rich Little. Because he's here, I don't want to pass up the opportunity for him to do the answer to this question, which is what would have happened had someone else been asked to do Ratso Rizzo. And I'd like to have Rich Little stand up for you. It'll just take a second because we've got to get back to this, of course. Rich, where are you? Okay, Rich Little, ladies and gentlemen. Rich, just stand over here and just give us a couple of seconds.
Remember that scene? I'm walking here, which was an ad lib. Apparently, when they did it in New York, the cab was running the two of them over. That's what Gus Rahman said. I'm walking here. Now, if other stars had had that part with John Wayne would have said, I'm walking here, Pilgrim. I always walk to the right. Well, yes. I'm walking here too, and I've always walked to the right. Because I've been a Republican. I think I was president, wasn't I? Yes, I was president, and what year was that? I can't remember, but the reason I was a Republican. Just let me finish this one thing. The reason I was a Republican was that my grandfather and grandmother were Republicans. My father and my mother were Republicans. My aunt and my sister were Republicans. And somebody said to me, well, that's a stupid reason. What if your family were crooks? Then what would you be? I said, well, I'd be a Democrat.
That's a hard act to follow. So anyway,
so the question was, what, did I know what was going on when it was happening? And I think, and by the way, Peter has interviewed me a couple of times for the Vanity Fair sketches on Coming Home and on Midnight Cowboy. They were both very well done. And so he knows the answer to the question that I'm going to give, which is that at the end of shooting Midnight Cowboy, John Schlesinger, this British director who had won an Academy Award for Darling and was the hot director at that time. And all these wonderful people came together, Dusty and Waldo Salt wrote it, and great people came together to do it. And at the end, but I was a new face and an untried fellow in films, really. I'd done a couple of little things in television and not too much. And they were watching me very carefully through the process. But for me, I knew that this script was a very strong piece, that if we were able to pull it off, it was going to be very exciting. And I knew that we had the very best people to do it. Every day I went to the set, I was, thanking God that I had this opportunity. It was a dream come true. And I knew everybody who I was looking at was at the top of their field and the top of their game. So anyway, but they wouldn't let me see rushes. John Schlesinger was taking care of me carefully, and he wouldn't let me see rushes to let me know how good I was doing, because they didn't want me to become self-conscious. Probably smart. And but I was feeling good throughout the process. But anyway, finally toward the end, and he was treating me as the young kid sometimes, and as a collaborator other times. At the end of it, it was just the two of us shooting a scene out in Texas on a dusty road, and it was a little piece. I was running half naked down the road, one of the dream sequences, and we had maybe 5 people with us, not too many people on the camera. And we finished, and that was it, And we had this little skeleton crew. We were going to finish up the next day and go home. And I came around this little truck that we had, this little van, into the shade. It was about 110 degrees, it was a very hot day. And there's John Schlesinger, this very kind of heavyset fellow who was my best, my help and my guide and my best buddy through this experience. And he was shaking, and he was red, and he was sweating. And he looked like he was having a heart attack. And I went up to him, I said, "John, what's going on? Are you okay?" And he said, "What have we done? What have we done? What will they say about us? We're going to make a movie about a dishwasher who fucks a lot of women in New York. What will they say?" And here's my friend having a complete, breakdown, and I didn't know what the hell. The only thing I could think of to say was this. I grabbed him by the shoulders, I looked him in the eye, and I said, "John, you and I will live the rest of our artistic lives in the shadow of this great masterpiece." And he looked up, he said, "Do you think so?" He said, "I'm absolutely certain of it. Let's go have a sandwich." And we went back. That's what happened. It's the truth. It's a true story.
Well,